Ted Action! Hey, it's Ted Center the Game Express Edition. We're going to try and explain this game to you and give you our thoughts on it in under 10 minutes because we're trying to do a real quickie one as we have been in a busy week. So, Luke, this game is called Suburbia, and what do you do in this game?
You build a city out of city tiles.
Perfect. And what's the point of the game?
The point is to get the most population.
And how do you get population?
With reputation and housing.
Yeah, you buy tiles that give you houses. So we're going to buy tiles and build a city. So I think for you to better understand this, we need to look at the components. Well, here's our player mats. Luke's going to get one, and I'm going to get one. Luke likes to be the black player. So here you go.
Thank you.
One kind of cool thing about these player mats is you can play them this way or this way. I'm going to play them this way for the sake of filming. So what do you think about some tiles here? Show us some tiles, Luke.
Well, you start out with the suburbs, which gives you +2 population.
I'll get a suburbs too. And that moves us up to 2 population right off the bat. So we start off with 2 people. This is our score track right here.
And then you also have the community park, which gives you 1 less money, but +1 reputation for each adjacent factory, housing, or business.
So our reputation marker is going to be at 1. So these aren't the right colored reputation markers, but on our player boards, we have a reputation track and we have an income track. So what Luke explained to us is that our reputation went up 1 because we added a tile that's a community park. So the idea thematically is people like parks, so they're going to move to my city because I have a park. So the 1-person tile there is there. I mean, the reputation goes up by 1 there. I'm distracted because Luke just farted. True story. Anyway, moving on.
Express farts.
Express farts. So, +1 on the reputation because of the community park. Now, the last thing we're going to get in our town is
the factory.
Heavy factory.
It gives you +1 money, but -1 for each adjacent community building or housing. Right.
So, that's actually going to move our income up by 1. That's going to make this counteract the community park, which costs us 1. But then each adjacent housing and commercial type building is going to give us a -1 on the reputation marker. So, that's crazy. I never noticed that before. These should cancel each other out, right? But they don't. Like, you start off with 1 reputation. So, the game tells you to start with 1 reputation, so it's not exactly like the tiles say. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seems like it.
+1 right there.
Oh yeah, +1. So Luke figured it out. We get +1 for this one. I'm going on about 10 hours of sleep over the last 2 nights, so Luke may have to carry this one. Not that he doesn't always. So, okay, moving on. We have our player mats, we have our basic cities. Now we're going to keep buying tiles and putting them in different places to get benefits from the tiles. So, normally we'd have a bunch of piles of tiles up here. These are where the starting tiles go, and then we'd have like a stack of, in the 2-player game, 15 tiles, and like 20 tiles there. But instead, for the sake of this quick just demonstration, we're just going to put some of these B tiles over here on the board to show you just a few ways how this plays out. So these B tiles would go up here on this board, and then we get flipped over onto this track here. And I think you probably should film from this direction over. But for the sake of our little video here, it's not going to matter much. So we're putting these little tiles down. And then this little board here is going to show you a little premium. Like there's a buyer's premium to buy things that have just come out. And as things get older, they don't have to cost that premium. So there's a cost for the tile right here, plus whatever it says here. So there's a +6 here, a 5 + 6. To buy this elementary school, I have to pay $11. Now we start off with some money too. This money is really nice. But we start with these little 15 bucks of money, and we buy these things. So a turn is basically you buy a tile, you place a tile, you get paid based on your income track, and you get reputation based on your reputation track, or population based on your reputation track. Now, that said, there's a step in there I missed, and that's going to be what we show you now. That's when we resolve new tiles. So let's say it was my turn first, and I bought this elementary school. This elementary school cost me $5 because there's no premium on it, and it just says $5 here. This says give me +1 population for each of your green tiles. So I'm going to stick this here, and it gives me +1 on the reputation as well. So I move it up my reputation because of the black square, but then this flavor text down here, or whatever you want to call it, it's more than flavor text because it's important, but these instructions tell me to go ahead and move it up for every green tile I have, move it up 1. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this game that makes it different than other games is that says for every one of your green tiles, move your population up 1. That happens right away, but then if I move more green tiles in later in the game, I get another population based on this tile. So, essentially, this tile is going to continue to work the rest of the game for me. So, Luke's gonna pick a tile now too. So we scoot these down, and what tile would you pick, Luke?
I would probably pick the movie theater.
The movie theater. Right here's the movie theater. You have to pay $16 for it. He wouldn't normally be able to do this in a game because you start with 15, but we wouldn't be starting with the B tiles either. So he's going to put that in his town. And he gets +1 income for every green in his house, in his town. And he also gets +1 on that. So he would move his little, this is the wrong one, but he'd move this up 2. So now Luke's reputation is 2, and his reputation is 1, and his income is 2. So he would get paid $2 up for his turn.
Actually, it would be smarter to put it right here because it does +1.
Oh yeah, for each adjacent. I didn't see where it says adjacent. So the tiles go different places. You get different benefits from it. The game is basically played in pretty simple turns where you buy a tile, you resolve the tile's effects, and then you get paid and make your adjustments on the scoring track and things like that. Now, the other things that make this game a little different than just that are the fact that I talked a little earlier about the tiles are forever. Their effects go forever. But the other thing that's kind of interesting too is there's three kinds of powers that happen. So there's a for each adjacent. So like an example is this warehouse says for each adjacent business you get +2, and this one says for each of your. And that gives you a +1 for each of your businesses. You get a +1 on that. So there was 2 different kinds of language there. Adjacent obviously means next to. You are really gassy, man. You're like burping up a storm over there. You okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Anyway, for each adjacent means that like ones that are next to that tile, adjacent. You know what adjacent means. And for every of your means that in your little borough here you get that. There's another kind of tile that says for each. So, for each means everyone's town. So, if I had a tile that said, for each green, get $2, which there is one that says that, every time anyone built a green tile, I would get $2. But also, when I place that tile, I would count everyone's green tiles and get $2 for that tile. So, that's kind of a more interesting player interaction type thing. The one last thing we need to talk about before we give our thoughts on it is the goals.
Goals give you more population. So, environmentalist is fewest factories. So, you would have the fewest factories, and it would give you +15 population.
And this iconography is pretty awesome here. It shows 2-player, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player for how many goals you'd have out. So, in a 2-player game, we'd have 2 goals out. 3 players have three goals out. 4 players have 4 goals out. And these are community goals that would flip into this spot right here. So, they would go here, here, a couple more would go on. But in a 2-player game, we only have the 2. So, this is the fewest government buildings. It gives me +15 population. And that's the Libertarian. They have little clever names for all these. The developer, for the most businesses, you get +10 population. So, whoever meets these goals, at the end of the game, when all the tiles have been depleted in the stock, actually, that's not true. There's a tile that says, in the game in 1 turn, in the C phase of the game. After that tile comes up, we play one more round, but after that, the game's over. And then we figure out our bonuses. So there's not only these community bonuses here, but at the beginning of the game, we're given 2 tiles. So I get 2 tiles, and I secretly get to pick one as my goal, and I keep that a secret right here. And Luke picks one as his secret goal too. And the whole time I'm trying to complete my goal without letting anyone know. One more quick thing for us to tell you about too. These tiles are out, let's say, and you're broke. You have $0, so you can't really buy anything. Well, there's something else you can do. You can flip a tile over for $0 plus the bonus up here and put it in your town as a lake or a pond. So then you get $2 for each adjacent tile that's of the non-lake type. So I would not only not have to pay anything for that lake, but it would get me a payment of $6. So that's a way how you can raise funds pretty quickly. And I think the idea is that people like lakes, so it provides you a little extra income or makes people I don't know. It doesn't work thematically that awesome, but lakes give you money. Maybe sell fish. So, at any rate, the lakes give you some money to help raise money. One last thing, last thing is you get these little 2X markers. So instead of buying a tile and placing one, you could place one of these 2X markers onto a tile that you already have in your city, and then it doubles the effects. Now, I've seen this really swing games to where people win from this. So if someone has a tile that says +2 population for every one of your green tiles, or for every green tile, something along those lines, and you double that, you immediately go up 10, 12 people, and it shoots you way up, even more sometimes. I've seen as many as 24. I think people get shot up by doubling a tile. So that's a really like gotcha mechanism almost, or like a sneaky thing to think about. And then these secret goals. So you flip that over, you figure out the score track, and that's your points. Also, these red lines on the score track show that when you cross that, you need to adjust your track up here to go down one, each of these. So that's how it's kind of almost a makeup mechanism, or telling you not to build too fast. It kind of keeps you limited in how quickly you build. So that is a way too fast explanation of this game, but we're trying to get this done before dinner tonight, and I need to pack, etc. So, quick one, but we're trying to get some video out for you. Luke, what do you think of this game?
For art and theme, I'm going to have to give it probably a 7.5. Just a good theme, good art. Not too complicated, not like so serious that it isn't kid friendly, but it's also not so expeditious. You know what I mean? Like basic.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's good. What do you think about fun?
Fun, I'm gonna have to give it an 8.5 because it's probably one of my top 3 games, to be honest.
And family rating?
Family rating will have to be probably 7.5 because you don't really get in each other's way that much.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to figure out. I mean, it's not super young children approved, but 8, 9 years old could figure it out probably. Maybe 10. It's tough in some ways. Actually, the first game we played, Luke was building away and kind of getting steamrolled, and he finally said, well, I'm just building a cool town. So he liked building a cool town, had fun with it, but he wasn't competitive. So it's a little more difficult game to score and figure out what you're doing with it. For my ratings, I'm going to say the art and theme on this are awesome. You feel like you're playing SimCity, like you're building a city and developing a city. So the theme nails it with the mechanic. The art is pretty cool. It's not detailed, but it gives you like a 3D rendered, like almost like Apple Maps 3D renderings look on the tiles, which is kind of cool. All the components fit together real nice on good thick cardstock and things. The fun's really high too. I would say this gets about a 7.5 or 8 on fun. My family rating is also going to be about a 7 because it's a little complex, but it's something that's thematically fun for everybody. And my wife's played this a couple times, been competitive, and she likes it. So eventually we're going to have a stamp that we go right now and show you that it's mom approved. But this is a mom approved game. She likes it. My overall rating, before I give you Luke's overall rating, I'm going to say, no, you say yours first. I have mine on my mind right now.
Probably 8.5.
Wow, that's high. Luke really likes this one, 8.5. For me, my overall rating on it, I'm going to give it an 8.25. Not quite 8.5. I want to give it an 8.5, but it's better than an 8 too. So 8.25 does work. It's a very good game. I like it a lot. It's just a good game, and it's just kind of a weird, like, heaviness to it. It's not light, it's not a filler, but it's not heavy either, and you don't get that real rich gameplay in some ways. So that's the only complaint I have about it. Now at Gen Con, I believe Suburbia Inc. is coming out. Maybe it's an Essen, I don't know. But Suburbia Inc. is an expansion that's coming out, which gives asymmetrical player powers, which will be kind of cool, I think. So this game definitely has the potential to jump up from an 8.25 on me and an 8.5 from Luke, or go down if Luke thinks the expansion ruins it. I don't know. Anyway, after a few plays, I'm going to say this is very highly recommended. I like this game a lot.
I do too.
Awesome. I talked really fast in this video. I'm sorry. We tried to just get it done quick. So next week we'll be back with a more normal review because it'll be a more normal week. And we will be looking next week at Super Dungeon Explorer, as that was your second place finisher. Or tied for first, I guess. At any rate, thank you for watching. As always, you can check us out at dadsonandgame.com. or Facebook/Dad, Son, and Game. What else?
Nothing. I was gonna say that I thought Super Dungeon Explorer was good, but...
Oh, that's for next week to say.
Right.
He looks tired too. It's been a long week. So anyway, thanks for watching. This isn't our best video, we get that. But we just wanted to put something out. Alright, thank you guys. Maybe this will get a full review someday, because it's a good game and deserves one. See ya! Are you falling asleep already? Alright. Well, anyway, I'm guessing the music's rolling now. And now the credits are rolling. And probably about now it's going to have the productions thing up, which is kind of silly. I mean, we're just two guys shooting videos in a basement. Alright.